Welcome home, residents. It's your Mayor Alistair back once again, and I'm here because someone has done something diabolical, so heinous that it sent ripples through the whole Godzilla community. I'm of course talking about Variety's latest 100 best horror films of all time list, which the original Gojira actually features on. But surely Godzilla being on the list is a good thing, right? I was pleasantly surprised to hear about this news, until I started to read the way this author speaks about the film. So do excuse me, but this video will be a bit of a rant because I'm just sick of the way that people talk about this franchise. Down at 47, they have put the original Godzilla film on the list, which, as you all know, is a hugely important film for Japanese media, being ahead of its time in terms of special effects, delivering a potent metaphor for the atomic bomb after it recently impacted millions of Japanese civilians. It was a key player in delivering a representation of the events of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, in a time where the United States was suppressing all films that made reference to the attack. The public did not see any of the newsreel footage for 25 years, and the US military film remained hidden for 4 decades. So Ishiro Honda got around this by of course using tokusatsu to represent the bomb as a gigantic monstrous beast with godlike powers that rose from the ocean to wipe away the city. That was the art form they used to mirror the events. But fans know too well what kind of impact this had. Western media downplayed the special effects to just people wearing costumes, stomping around toy cities, trying to reduce the impact of the story and the Japanese film overall. So let's see what kind words Variety has to say about such an important piece of Japanese media. He's one of the most spectacular of all movie monsters, that's nice, and also one of the most grandly preposterous. They call it kitsch, which means something that appeals to popular or lowbrow tastes and is often of poor quality, something to be appreciated only ironically. They use the classic stomping on toy models line. They say his skin is like shag carpeting, which is a wild thing to say considering his skin is based off real burns from victims of Hiroshima. They can't compliment it without being insulting to the art form, stating he's played by a man in a dinosaur suit, and go on to say, on some level, we always know that we're watching a tacky, ingenious apocalyptic puppet show. They of course have some good things to say overall, but they can't help themselves but be massively condescending in the process. It's so weird to me that they feel the need to put down this 70-year-old film, minimizing its impact because it comes from a different culture. This kind of language was super common in the past, but in 2024, after there is so much information about the role this film's had in Japanese history, to continue to talk down to it just seems absolutely disrespectful to me. But maybe you're thinking, perhaps this is just how they speak about all the films? Well, if we go down all the way to number 12, we actually have Godzilla's rival, King Kong, the 1933 original. Let's see how they speak about that. A monster movie as grand and terrifying and dreamy and awesome as its title character. Kong, the giant gorilla who is uprooted from his prehistoric home and brought to New York City to be the ultimate sideshow attraction, is a fearsome beast, but he's also a gargantuan innocent who becomes a figure of touching and tragic circumstance. In scenes set in the primeval dinosaur jungle of Skull Island, Willis O'Brien's revolutionary stop-motion effects have retained every bit of their wonder, and the miracle of Kong's presence is the emotion it conjures when he grabs the original Scream Queen, the beguiling Fay Wray, and climbs to the top of the Empire State Building, battling the propellered planes that want to shoot him down. No film about an otherworldly creature of elemental fear was ever so moving. That's weird, right? Not a single condescending or degrading thing to say about its effects. Nothing to say about the preposterous nature of the monsters, or how the models look like toys or a puppet show. Like, really? Well, okay, maybe it's just because that's higher up on the list. Well, okay then, let's check out one lower on the list. At 72, there's Creature from the Black Lagoon, a film that arguably uses similar effect techniques as Godzilla, with the antagonist being a man in a monster suit. And nothing. not a single negative thing to say about this film. There is an immediate difference in the way that the writer speaks about these icons of cinema. And in my opinion, it can only boil down to an issue that's plagued Godzilla since its inception. It's simply xenophobia. It's something that's been a massive issue, as critics have had a problem accepting art forms that are aesthetically different than what they're used to in the West. This is something that's been mitigated in recent years, as films like -1 and Shin Godzilla have done a great job breaking that boundary that's been set up for so long, with -1 even getting an Oscar, which was a huge step forward for the franchise, in helping it get recognized as more than just a guy in a silly dinosaur costume film. So it makes articles like this stand out so much because it comes across as so outdated, like they wrote it in 1997 or something. Of course, it's not all bad. They did put it higher up than some Western classics and did make reference to the fact it's a walking metaphor for nuclear disaster, but it's the simple fact that they can't get past the effects, despite it being better than plenty of American productions at the time. That apparently makes it deserving of being minimized and degraded in a way that no other film on this list is. That's why I feel it's important to talk about. It's something that we shouldn't really stand for in this day and age. In a time of acceptance and cultural appreciation, why is this film from a turbulent time in Japanese history still being treated like a joke? Something you should only enjoy ironically, something that's so bad it's good, like The Room.
I'm fed up with this world.
So how can they improve? Well, they don't need any of those depowering terms like kitsch, puppet show, dinosaur suit, or preposterous. They could instead replace it with more terminology and insight in the actual art form, talking about tokusatsu and its role in cinema, how the actors inside their suits were put under extreme physical and mental stress just to make the thing move. Make references to the tragedy of the story or the impact it had on Japanese film, or how it's just as pungent now as it was in 1954. There are a million things to talk about instead of downplaying its impact. Half the article that was spent poking fun at it could have been spent teaching readers about why it resonates with so many, in the same way you did with many other films on the list. Of course, I won't list the writer of the article because I don't want any hate to come their way. I just want them to understand the way they speak about these things says a lot about their personality, and that hopefully they can grow and learn from this mistake. But that's all I'll say about the matter. It's just really frustrating to me because after so much good has been done to improve the reputation of Godzilla in the Western eye, things like this can set us back years. Let us know in the comment section down below what you think about the whole issue, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to become a resident of Dangerville today. I've been Alistair, and we'll see you residents in the next one.